Accord EX. Got some rear brake pads for it, and this is the condition of the situation. Alright, this bottom bolt here on this rear disc brake caliper, this is the passenger side rear, you can get a socket on that one, but this other one you cannot. You're going to have to get it with a box end wrench, and if this little keyway here, if it spins, which I don't think it's supposed to spin, but this one's spinning, just grab it with a pair of vice grips, and you'll be able to pop it loose. Because this one here was spinning, it was super tight. I don't even know if these ever been changed, but it was really, really tight. So. Alright, so this bolt doesn't want to come out because it's going to be stopped by that. So what you do is you just push that pin in a little bit like this, and that will give you enough clearance to get the bolt unscrewed and to get it out. Okay? Now these particular type of brakes, they have it has the emergency brake built into it, and so you won't be able to and get it to come off one hand. So what I was trying to say was, you won't be able to compress the cylinder any. You won't be able to compress this because it has a keyway in it, and these rear brake auto adjust style brake calipers stick into that keyway, and it makes it so that the brake piston that comes out, it's on a screw head. You have to turn it back in, okay? To turn it back in to get it to go back, you can't do that with it installed. So when you pull it off, it's a little tight. Now, I took this car to the dealer, and I think I had the airbag recall done on it, okay? They said that there was 1 millimeter of brake pad left. Now, these are past 50%. I understand past 50%, but this is not 1 millimeter. And I knew that this particular brake setup had these little squealer things on there for them to rub and make noise. It wasn't making noise, and I thought, okay, well maybe it drove past this and wore it off, and it was gone, and it was down to 1 millimeter. Well, that looks like more like 5 or 6 millimeter to me, maybe even 7. But anyway, so anytime the dealer quotes you 1 millimeter, you need to have a look at it and make sure for yourself. At least that's what I do, because I do my own work. But 1 millimeter is a scary number on brake pads, because I didn't want to toast my drums on this. These are the rear brake rotors. I'm not interested in buying new ones. So here we are. We've got new brake pads. I got it apart. I'm going to put new ones on there. This one here is a little thinner than the other one. And this one here is probably about maybe 3 or 4 millimeters. It's a lot closer than the other one, definitely. So that's what we got. The kit that I got comes with these little things. If you don't have these little things, you can clean them up. They need to be cleaned up 100% with no dust or dirt on them. Okay? And the landings here. You can clean all that stuff up, or it's going to start squealing. So we got new pads. I'll clean these off with a wire brush and get it all done. Alright, so I've got one of those kits, the disc brake caliper toolkit from Mac Tools. Alright, and just kind of chuck that thing up in there like this and turn it. I won't be able to do it with one hand, but kind of get the idea. It has 2 small little dogs that fit in there. These 2 little legs fit in there, fit in the slot. It's kind of a fancy way of doing it. You can do it with a pair of pliers, do it with a gigantic screwdriver. Any way you want to do it. This is the best way to do it. You don't want to mess around and ding anything, so let's get this part, let's get it past this part here, get it done. Alright, so I got it cleaned up pretty good. I'm about to put these on there, and this is where you need to do your homework. There's a little notch here on the back. You see where I turned that thing, I turned it to the end where it stopped, but it's not up and down. So I'm going to have to turn it back a little bit and line it up. Line it up with this guy. You're not going to be happy if it's not right. So please do it right. This is the passenger side rear, and the squeal indicator goes on the inner pad on the bottom. That's how it was from the factory. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. So let me get this to the next step here. Alright, so I've got my pads on there. I got a little ceramic brake grease on there. This is the stuff that I use. Works pretty good. Less is more. So what you want to do is you want to pop these little things off of there. You want to check the grease level inside here and make sure that it's not dry. Okay? Now you always pull these out one at a time. If you decide you're going to grease it, you need to clean it and not mix the types of grease. Okay? It's got certain type of grease in there. Whatever you got is different. You're going to want to put the same type back in there. So just pop that gasket back over it, which with one hand is probably impossible. I don't know. But I do take these apart one at a time because sometimes they're different. Now this bottom one feels like it's sticking. Yeah, it's stuck in there pretty good. It might just have a vacuum on it, I don't know. Some of them have a little plastic alignment leg in there to help buffer out the noise, vibrations and stuff. And sometimes that little plastic thing gets all wore out and fried. Well, it's going to take two hands to get that out. Alright, so the bottom one has that little plastic guy on there, and it's fine. It's just really tight. The grease level is fine in this one, so we're not going to mess around with that. Alright, so after you pull these out, they're a little spring loaded, so you'll have to hold them to get it back together. Make sure you start these bolts. You start them with your hand and get them going with your hand first, or you'll cross thread something. This one here, because of the interference there, you'll have to do it with an open end wrench and then use a box end to tighten it up. It's just a little bit tighter of a deal. So there we are, it's all together. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.